I never thought a harmless joke could expose a crack that had been spreading quietly through my marriage. It started at a dinner party, one of those casual evenings where everyone's relaxed, laughing too loudly, wine glasses always half full. My husband, Alistair, was sitting across from me, calm as ever, listening more than he spoke. Beside me was Rowan, my best friend since university. He'd always been affectionate in that easy, brotherly way, teasing me, stealing olives from my plate, finishing my sentences. Somewhere between the second glass of wine and the shared stories, I laughed and said, "Careful, Alistair gets jealous when other men pay me attention." I meant it playfully. I even nudged my husband's knee under the table, expecting a smile, maybe a sarcastic reply. Instead, he looked at me for a long second, eyes unreadable, then returned to his food. The conversation moved on. I forgot about it. Oh, I thought I did. On the drive home, I brought it up again, still joking, still light. "You know I was kidding, right?" Alistair kept his eyes on the road. He said, "Of course." His voice was neutral, almost polite. That should have been my first clue. For years, I'd admired how steady he was. He never raised his voice, never reacted impulsively. I used to think that made him strong. That night, it felt different. It felt like distance. When we got home, he went straight to the shower. I lay in bed scrolling through my phone, replaying the evening, wondering why his silence suddenly felt heavier than anger ever could. Over the next few days, I noticed small shifts. Alistair stopped asking how my day went. He still did everything he always had. Paid the bills, fixed a loose hinge on the kitchen cabinet, brewed coffee in the mornings, but something essential was missing. His warmth had cooled. When I reached for him, his hugs were brief, polite. I told myself I was imagining it. After all, he'd never been the jealous type. That was part of why I felt safe with him. Rowan, meanwhile, noticed nothing. He texted memes, called to rant about work, invited me to lunch. Life went on, except my home felt quieter, emptier, like a room after the music stops. One evening, a week after the dinner, I tried to address it. We were sitting on the sofa, television on, but neither of us really watching. I said, "Did I upset you the other night?" Alistair didn't look at me. He said, "No, just one word." Then he added, "I just learned something." That got my attention. I asked what he meant. He finally toned, and his expression wasn't angry. It was tired. I realized I'd been competing in a game I never agreed to play. I laughed nervously, thinking he was exaggerating. I reminded him Rowan was just a friend, that he'd always known that. Alistair nodded. "I know, and I also know how it feels to sit quietly while your wife jokes about my replaceability." The word hit me harder than I expected. Replaceability. I started to defend myself, listing all the ways I'd chosen him, all the years we'd built together. He listened, as he always did, then said, "I believe you, but belief doesn't cancel out reality." He stood up, not abruptly, just deliberately. "I need some air." I watched him grab his jacket and keys. "You're leaving?" I asked. He paused at the door. "I'm thinking," he said. Then he walked out. I spent that night restless, oscillating between anger and fear. How could he take a joke so seriously? How could he leave without resolving it? I texted Rowan, vented my frustration. He reassured me, said Alistair was overreacting, that some men were just insecure. His words comforted me in the moment, but later, alone in the dark, they echoed uncomfortably. When Alistair returned hours later, he slept in the guest room. The next morning, he was calm, courteous, distant. He made breakfast, set a plate for me, then sat across the table like a visitor. That afternoon, he told me he was taking a few days to stay with his brother, Callum. He said it gently, like he was discussing a work trip. I asked if he was serious. He said, "I need clarity." I wanted to cry, to argue, to demand he stay, but something in his composure stopped me. He wasn't running. He was stepping back. When he left, the house felt unbearably loud in its silence. Alone, I replayed everything. Not just a joke, but the years of small moments I'd dismissed. The way I'd shared more of my inner world with Rowan than with my husband. The way I'd assumed Alistair's steadiness meant he didn't need reassurance. I read our old messages, so how often I'd taken his presence for granted. By the third day, my defensiveness had worn away, replaced by a hollow understanding. I'd mistaken patience for indifference, loyalty for permanence. When Alistair came back, he didn't bring accusations. He brought boundaries. He told me he loved me, but he loved himself too. He said he wasn't asking me to cut anyone out of my life, but he wouldn't stay in a marriage where he felt like a background character. I won't fight for attention, he said quietly. I'll walk away from what doesn't choose me. That was a shock. Not that he was angry, but that he was prepared to leave with dignity intact. I apologized, truly, without jokes or defenses. I admitted my carelessness, my blindness. He listened. He didn't rush to forgive, but he didn't shut me out either. We're still together, but something fundamental has changed. I understand now that love isn't proven by endurance alone. It's maintained by awareness, by choosing each other openly every day. I teased my husband, thinking his silence meant safety. I was wrong. Silence, I learned, can also be the sound of someone deciding whether to stay.